Yani mimi huwa nafuraha sana wakati ninakuona mtazamaji, because najua kwamba we are going to have an awesome time on the set. Tutazungumzia masuala ambayo yanakuhusu, yananihusu, na pia mimi hupendelea wakati ambapo unanitumia ujumbe pale, unatuma DM, unatuma message kwenye YouTube channel yangu, unaniambia Aki Anjogu, jamani, yule guest ambaye ulikuwa naye last week, niko na maswali mawili matatu. I feel so happy nikijua kwamba the conversations that we are having each and every week ni conversations ambazo zinakujenga. Let me ask you, in your family, kuna mtu ambaye ako addicted either kwa pombe, kwa sigara, madawa ya kulevya, mihadarati tu ya kila aina, or maybe unajua mtu tu, maybe ni jirani wa jirani ama rafiki wa rafiki ambaye yuko addicted kwa kitu ambacho kimemshinda kukiacha. So today I know my guest ushaimuona hapo awali, anaitwa Jeff. Akatupatia story moja noma sana, vile ambavyo alikuwa addicted kwa pombe. Ulisema pombe, bangi?
Pombe, bangi, miraa, tobacco products and some pills hapo.
Kama ulifuata story yake. Now he's back here on the set. Si kuzungumzia story yake, but now he's a counselor.
I'm a counseling psychologist. And a certified addiction professional.
So ukaacha mihadarati, sasa wewe ndiye una counsel wale ambao wanapitia yale maswala.
In fact, vile nilijipata kwa hii field.
Wacha niwakumbushe kuambia, don't forget to subscribe. Na karibu sana kwenye Anjogu TV.
Anjogu TV. Subscribe.
Jeff, ulijipataje? By the way, before ulijipataje? I can't remember, in our last interview tukiongea kuhusu story yako, ulitueleza vile ambavyo ulienda rehab na ulichange aje?
Niliwafikishia story hadi hapo kwa rehab, hadi vile nilichange. Maybe we didn't talk much about the recovery process, but leo iko professional. So ni vizuri niwaambia how I found myself to be this kind of professional. Unajua number one, mimi nikigrow, sisi tulikuwa wale wa unauliza unataka kukua nini? Pilot, architect, engineer, juu hizo ndio ziko. So mimi sikugrow nikijijua. And so inakuanga shida na watu wengi. So even my first course, my first ever course ile nilichoose, I think nilipeana kwa story, ilikuwa economics and finance. Na nijuu hiyo time Kibaki ndio alikuwa president, ndio alikuwa role model. So now I got addicted, got to rehab, but hakuna mtu alikuwa ananijibu. Why did I become an addict? Why me?
Mbona wewe na si ule mtu mwingine?
Naona watu wengine wanalewa. In fact, my dad alikuwa anakunywa pombe.
May he rest in peace.
But by the time tulikuwa kwa show hakuwa amepass the last time. So why and so many other people that I know. So mimi nilikuwa napata majibu zenye hazinifurahishi. Mara naambiwa sijui sikuwa na control. Kwa nini nikose control wewe ukuwe nayo? Kwa nini umepea Mungu? Ati mara damu yangu ni rahisi. Hapana. Why, unajua? Sort of that curiosity. I wanted to go to school. Nijue ni nini really hufanya mtu anakuwa addicted, and I also really wanted to understand myself. That's how I found myself doing counseling psychology and then addiction treatment on the side. Na vile sasa niliingia hapo ndio nikasikia like it's now my calling now.
So ukiwa ndani?
Nikiwa already sasa nimeanza kusoma ndio niko like this is
I'm enjoying
this. I'm really getting the answers. Na nikakuja kuelewa pali mambo yote inatokanga, nikakuja kujua njia za maybe kusaidia watu from it or to walk through it. Na ikakuwa even beyond addiction. Now I help people with a lot of things, grief, trauma, anxiety, depression, all of that.
Awesome. Sasa kabla tufike to the answers you got, because definitely Jeff ulipata majibu, na yale majibu ulipata kwa nini wewe ukawa addicted na si mtu mwingine. Actually we are very curious. We want to know ni majibu gani ulipata. But before that, ulienda rehab. Na zile story huwa tunasikia za rehab ni kwamba ukienda rehab ni ngumu sana. It's not easy. Na watu wengi pale kwenye rehab they give up and they relapse. So how was it for you? Rehab ilikuwaje kwako?
Number one, unajua mimi sikuenda ati juu nilikuwa nataka sana.
Aki wewe, you make fun of it. Yeah.
Ni mzee wangu alinitrick
Yeah.
Then kujipata pale, then unaona wale watu wengine pale uko like yani hata mimi nimefika hii kiwango
kupelekwa rehab.
Bana.
Yeah.
Ilikuwa uchungu.
Yeah.
Kusikia sasa tena umewaste all that time, then unasikia tena ni 3 months, unashindwa 3 months. 3 months. Sasa hiyo nilikuwa nimependa hizi vitu sana, nilikuwa like 3 months bila hizi vitu.
Yeah.
Then sasa vile tulianza nilipata very difficult time with my sleep. I used to have painful sleep.
What do you mean?
That's what I can call it. Ilikuwa imejaa nightmares, terrors, feeling weak. Sasa hiyo already okay, ninaanza kupewa dawa za kunisaidia na kitu inaitwa withdrawal symptoms. But what I remember most about my first 2 weeks in rehab was the nightmares. Some of them we call them kitu inaitwa hypnagogic hallucinations. This is a dream. Unaota ndoto alafu ukiamka hiyo ndoto inaendelea. For example, si ushaiota ukiingia kwa kishimo.
Unaanguka kwa shimo.
Kabla ufike chini na sasa hiyo unaota ukianguka kwa shimo, unaamka shimo haishi.
Na umeamka. You're wide awake.
Yes. So it is a type of hallucination watu upata waki withdraw from drugs. It is very painful and very scary.
Yes.
Ama the other example nilikuwa napata ndoto ya unaona ukikuja kuumwa na nyoka. Si utaamka then uko like shetani ashindwe.
I bind it in the name of Jesus. Yeah.
Sasa hiyo ni utaumwa na hiyo nyoka kwa ndoto and then you'll feel it.
Kwa ndoto bado.
You'll feel it, then utaamka, then itaendelea. So
nini itaendelea?
Uchungu. Si ndoto.
Ndoto inaendelea na ushaamka. You're wide awake.
Yeah, they're called hypnagogic hallucinations. There's also another one, another word. It's a form of hallucinations that people get. And that is the reason why so many people huku nje, they try to get sober by themselves. Unapata mtu anataka ku get sober, but hawezi because ile siku moja mbili amekaa sober, ameanza kupata hizi very weird dreams, night terrors, those kinds of hallucinations. Ule mtu ule ugonjwa anajipata tena amerelapse. But from my experience, zile dawa nilikuwa napewa hiyo wakati ilisaidia sana ku ease the face, ilikuja ikaisha. But later in my recovery, around the first 2 years, I was getting night terrors. Napata na ile sleep paralysis. Vitu kama hizo.
So, ndoto zako sana sana zilikuwa ukianguka kwa shimo,
ukiwa
na nyoka.
Nikuumwa na nyoka.
Those two.
Ama nikichokiwa na mtu, nikifinyiliwa na mtu hivi chini. Mtu anakuja na nifinyilia hivi nakosa hewa, najaribu kupigana na yeye, naamka bado nakosi na hewa
na huyo mtu ulikuwa unamrecognize.
Huwezi mrecognize.
Okay. So those umezita hypnagogic.
Yeah. It's a dream that continues even after you wake up.
When your brain is awake.
And then there is another one where you start dreaming before you fall asleep. Iko na jina tofauti but nita confirm baadaye.
Ziliendelea for how long bado ukiwa rehab?
Hizo zilienda for 2 weeks.
Non-stop, every day.
Every day. Yeah. Every day. Hadi watu sasa wenye wanalala huko wanajua mzee lazima apige nduru leo. Na hizo story napatanga sana from parents wakiniletea clients. Unapata mtu anapiga nduru sana usiku. You know, it's not because of anything. It's the withdrawal symptoms that bring these terrors and these types of hallucinations.
Yeah. So ulikaa rehab for 3 months.
Nilikaa rehab for 3 months.
Yeah.
So the second month ndo ilikuwa very lonely. Unajua mimi nilikuwa in denial. Mimi nilikuwa like sasa nitakaaje bila pombe. Maybe for all my adult life I didn't know any other lifestyle. Now I was rehab, I was 24. I started drinking heavily and using drugs heavily at 16.
Yeah.
Though I had started a little bit earlier from ile babangu. Though hiyo ilikuwa kuonja. So me, all my adult life, I didn't know any other kind of life.
Yeah.
Now I'm here being offered a sober lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yes, it's all nice being sober.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to live
a sober life.
A sober life. Number one, sina beshte hata moja ako sober ati naweza mtumia kama example.
What are you saying?
I was the first sober friend that I knew.
Basi ungetafuta mabeshte wengine basi. You start a new life.
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
Kama mimi na wewe tumejuana for years before we became friends. To really become a friend with someone, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
So pale hivyo unatoka rehab, the only friend you have is your mother and your father.
Yeah.
So unaenda before you connect with other people who are sober, before they really, ile human connection, it takes time. And for the first 6 months after rehab, I was very lonely. Kwa nalala usiku hadi nasikia ni kama na choke huko juu. Na feel sina anybody.
Yeah.
Felt alone. Why it not for the support I had from my parents, and also juu niliingia sasa university direct kusoma hii counseling psychology, so they were my classmates in both classes and my lecturers, and just that hope that hii loneliness itakujaisha siku moja.
Ingekuwa ngumu.
That's why you see people relapse within 6 months. Juu mtu anakaa hivi anashanga hata hii sobriety ni ya nini?
Ni ya kazi gani? So tell us, Jeff, before we come to the answer that you came to realize, I mean, mbona wewe ukawa so vulnerable na ukawa addicted and not the other person, like you have a brother, sindio?
No, I have a sister.
You have a sister. What visible changes ambazo uliona to your body? Physically you can see them, you can feel, and also emotionally, mentally, what are the changes that you felt after the rehab or even during the rehab?
During the rehab.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the turning points, one of the things that happened, ndio nijue mazeni nilikuwa na shida. Mimi nikienda rehab nilikuwa na 49 kilos. After this, hata nitakutumia kapicha. Nikitoka rehab,
we need to show the pictures, the before and after now, yeah?
Uoneshe watu. Sina picha za before, juu sikuwa napigwa picha juu ya self esteem, lakini niko na picha ya ile siku nilitoka rehab. Uone hiyo picha nikitoka rehab na watu walikuwa wanasema nimepona vile nilikuwa nakaa. Sasa mimi nikiingia rehab nilikuwa 49 kilos. Nikitoka nilikuwa around 58.
Ulikuwa 49?
Nikiingia.
Ukitoka?
58 hapo 50. Sasa one of the things that happened, siku moja niko huko rehab, nimeenda kuoga. Nimeona nimeshika mapaja. Na sikuwa nimezoea. Nimerealize.
Umepata nyama.
Kumbe naweza kuwa na nyama.
Did you like it?
I liked it. I loved it. I was like, maybe these guys have a point.
Okay. So ukaanza kuongeza weight.
So in fact, to date, one of the things that sometimes, because right now I'm 8 years plus sober. Sometimes I get cravings. I won't lie.
Yes.
It's very normal.
Yeah.
But one of the things that sometimes makes me say, siwezi guza kitu, ni konde tena.
Yeah, konde. So, number one change uliona kwa mwili wako ni kuongeza weight. And you loved it. Kwa mapaja.
Nikaenda bafu nikasugua mapaja hivi. It felt so nice.
Yeah.
It felt so
and
good.
Emotionally?
No. I began craving for happiness in a more genuine way. Let me explain. One of the reasons people get addicted is they are chasing happiness.
Yeah.
Kuna ile una chase happiness because you'll drink whatever you're drinking, you'll feel happy, and then you'll want to do it again to chase that happiness. Now what in rehab, what happened, I realized I was sad. I realized I was sad, I was lonely, I was not feeling good about myself. I had a lot of feelings of guilt because of all of the things I had done and the life I was living. But for once in my life, I didn't feel the need to chase for happiness. I craved for
genuine happiness.
Yeah. And that gave me hope. Because early on, I realized that genuine happiness is somewhere within me. So I started looking for that, for things that would make me happy. Small things, being kind, laughing. As simple as watch movie, ufurahi. na hauko high that I can enjoy. Kwanza tuko huko rehab, tulikuwa tunaikawa movie, una realize na nimeenjoy hiyo movie na sijakunywa kitu. So I started craving for that kind of happiness. Unaona? And come to think of it right now, it's like I made that my mission.
To do what?
To be happy.
Genuinely.
To genuinely inatoka.
But mimi nakujua kama msemo mwenye huwa na furaha. Actually,
exactly.
You're naturally a very happy person. Exactly. Were you like that before the rehab?
Before rehab, you see, my personality I wouldn't say has changed much. I'm still the one person that I am. But before rehab, all my actions were intended towards getting high. So even if I'm happy, maybe I want to, maybe you invite, you want me to talk, I won't feel like I've really connected with you, not unless I'm high.
So ungekuja hapo kiwa high.
Vibaya sana.
Sasa tungeongea aje?
Alafu nione umeniweka sana, kwanza nitumane kakuona.
Uongeze.
Kwanza niongeze. So that kind of thing.
Okay.
So I even remember so many family occasions, you are happy, uko happy, yes, kuona aunties na, but you feel hautajibamba not unless there's something
external.
Something external. Come to think of it, that's very sad.
Now talk to us, because umesema one of the reasons, actually the main reason why ulienda kwa kusomea what you're doing now as a professional is because you had questions about yourself. So mbona wewe ukawa addicted and not the other person? Which answer did you get?
So I was predisposed in this way. I struggled with anxiety from when I was 8 or 9, thereabout. I grew up feeling like I don't belong. Number one, nilipelekwa boarding school, nilikuwa mtoi sana. So kuna hiyo disconnection. As much as nilikuwa 8 and I wanted it, and it was fashionable that time, psychologically now thinking about it, an 8-year-old is safer with the parents than at school trying to navigate social and peer safety. Because peer safety is not as stable as. So, and the peer safety that I got from the schools that I went was not that stable. So I developed fear and anxiety, and I grew up with that. And I began believing that to be for me to be loved, for me to be accepted,
to belong,
I have to do something extra. So I always felt like I don't belong. So on top of that, now the anxiety, just kuelezea mwenye ana watch, anxiety is not just feeling the fear. It's when that you feel that fear even in your body. So you can feel your heart palpitating, your heart rate, uneasiness in your stomach, and it becomes
inakuwa very uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable. Me, I used to even get sick without sicknesses. Me, unapata tu unahara, na ujui unaharia nini, ukienda kupimwa, nothing.
Wewe si mgonjwa.
Mimi si mgonjwa, si wewe, sorry. Mimi si mgonjwa. So I grew up like that. And since I was a child, mimi sikuwa najua ku explain your feeling. I normalized it. So come now,
so kidogo nikukatize Jeff. So hizo anxiety attacks zenye zilikuwa zina manifest in form of pengine kuhara, zilikuwa zina happen wakati kuna specific occasion, ama zilikuwa zinakuwa triggered na kitu fulani?
Of course, events in school would trigger it. Mostly for me it was social pali kuna peers. So tuseme, if I spend the whole day feeling like my classmates are not accepting me, somebody is isolating, if there is a certain teacher I fear, mi hadi ningejikojolea kwa kiti juu naogopa kuomba ruhusa nitoke nika.
Wow.
I felt small. I grew up feeling small and insignificant. And when it affected my performance in school, sikuwa na language ya explain why I'm performing poorly. And the only thing my dad could tell me was, hii familia yetu ujue sisi ni werevu, hatuangukangi mtihani. Na kwa nini umeanza kuanguka? You see, so I'm like, okay. So for me to be part of you ni kupita mtihani, which was easy for me to do because, well,
you're bright.
I mean.
Yeah.
I hope haijatokea vibaya.
No, it's not pride, it's the reality. Yeah.
So nikajua very early on deliverables to be accepted. So to be accepted at home, it's very easy.
Pita mtihani.
Now the one I never got figured out was this one of friends and
social anxiety.
The social one. So when I got to high school and I discovered that drugs make you popular, nilianguka nazo vibaya sana. So already now, psychologically speaking, when you grow up with anxiety, with these fears, your pleasure system in the brain is normally suppressed. So it rewires your brain in a certain kind of way. So it's like already kuna chemicals zenye haziproduciwi vizuri na kuna cells zenye hazifai by fire that are not firing like they should. So when you take drugs and you feel good, it's because drugs activate the reward system that was suppressed all those years. So your brain thinks it has found a solution. So very fast it creates a pathway to make you
dependent on them.
On them. So it reaches a point that it's not about choice. It's not about whether you want to do it or not. Your brain has already now created a mechanism. Hata ukikataa, because party yenye inakataa iko hapa mbele, it is not sick. But party yenye inataka hiyo kitu knows no logic. It just wants to feel good. So inaendanga sasa ina change the mechanisms of how you think, of how you do things to make sure that it is aligning you to the drug because it is making you feel good. So for me, my answers were, I grew up without a sense of belonging. I grew up battling anxiety. And the drugs I was doing and the alcohol was just medication for that. But because you can't put that in thought form, I created a lifestyle to support my healing, just negatively. So for me, stopping the drugs was not the full recovery. I had to now start sorting these anxiety issues. I had to sort this sense of belonging. I had to sort fears of neglect, fears of rejection, learning to live with them. Yes.
Nikianza show, niligusia vile ambavyo familia nyingi zinasumbuka na watu ambao wako katika hali ya addiction. Either ni pombe, ni hard drugs, and I'm very sure hata ukienda ushago utasikia mtoto wa fulani huyu ni mlevi na ako very, very, very much addicted. So are you telling us some of the reasons why watu wanakuwa addicted, Jeff, ni because of anxiety?
Not just anxiety.
You as an expert now.
Not just anxiety. There is no addiction without an underlying
cause.
The addiction you see, whether ni ya pombe, whether ni ya any other substance, whether ni ya sex, whether ni ya phone, whatever addiction you see, there is something the brain or your mind is trying to escape from. So for me, it was anxiety. For other people, it's feelings of sadness and loneliness. For other people, it is what we would call trauma or such things. So it depends with a lot of things. There's another scenario that I've also seen in my career. There are people who didn't have those pains growing up and then they start using. But then their experiences after they started became traumatic in some form. So their brain changed
over time.
Si ati walikuwa na hizo predisposing, because we make these mistakes as psychologists whereby we always have to associate issues with childhood, but unapata haikuwa hiyo. Hii kitu maybe ili happen mse, maybe hata alikuwa shawa ni job ali lose. Maybe ni pesa ali lose. Bado ukuwa mkubwa, or maybe you lost somebody. Maybe it's a grief thing. Maybe somebody died and your mind didn't process that, and because by that time you had already exposed yourself, your mind did the smart thing it does, which is look for solutions, and our minds love shortcuts. So kama iko na shortcut ya kusikia vizuri, akili yako inasema yes bro, I know you like to do your things in a responsible manner, but here we don't do that. Here we look for pleasure.
Yeah. Kuna mtu anashangaa nauliza. Okay, somebody saying I drink daily. I use a substance daily. But hiyo hainikatazi kufanya kazi yangu. But there are people who are telling that person, if you drink daily, bro, uko na issue ya addiction. Ni time gani inafika sasa unaambia huyu mtu, this one is becoming dangerous for you?
Very good question. And I like that because it brings me to what is addiction.
Yeah.
Addiction ni nini? Na addiction, watu wengi ufail because wanatrying kuidefine na one sentence ama one statement. Addiction is so complex, you can't just define it like that. It's not drinking every day. It's not kulala kwa mtaro. It's not kukosa kulipa school fees ukakunywa. Addiction is when you use something for short-term relief and the same thing has long-term consequences and you are unable to stop when you experience those long-term consequences. It is never about the number of times or how you do it. You may be drinking once per year, but if that once per year, there are consequences, and you still drink next year with the same consequences.
So you're in addiction?
Yes. The other thing people don't know, addiction is a disease. And just like any disease, what qualifies anything we call a disease is that a disease ukuwa na prognosis. That inaweza toka from mild to severe. So kuna mtu ako addiction yake, it's mild, other people it's moderate, other people it's severe. So ule mtu yake iko mild, sometimes unaweza pata akijikompare na ule mtu yake iko severe, anasema mimi sikuangi kama so and so. So addiction in itself is complex and it takes an individual to look at, number one, what is this relief they are looking for? Number two, what are these consequences they are getting from this? So it could be, yes, unakunywa unaenda kazi, but how are your relationships? How are your finances? How is your emotional health? How is your mental health? How is your physical health? Kuna mtu anaweza kuwa hizo mambo zote anafanya poa, but the liver is hurting. Hata anaenda hosia naambiwa bro, hii kitu manze itakuua.
Usipoacha haufiki.
Yes, sawa, anapendwa home, akona pesa, ni CEO ama whatever, ama hata yeye ni daktari ndo anatibu watu, but hata akiambiwa na daktari maini inachomeka, haezi acha. So in terms of consequences, the society only looks at money and wealth. Juu saa zile msee do poor in life ndo tunasema huyo msee akona na shida. As long as you show up in a nice suit, majorly people say
uko sawa.
Uko sawa. It's about ukae na wewe kama individual. Unajiangalia life yako in 3D, all areas of your life. This drinking, this smoking, what else is it affecting? And that one, only you and the very people close to you can tell you. When your wife tells you, hey, baba nani, siku hizi unataka to neglect. Yes, you may be providing everything. When your children tell you, mom, these days, hata utuoneshi homework. Because you get home, the first thing you do is take a glass of wine or your pills to sleep. You don't even know mtoto aliamka kwenda saa ngapi. Yes, uko sawa, uko nje to us. But uko hizo vitu behind the curtains. These consequences, however mild, however nini, what are they? And the sad thing is, hata kama ziko mild, just like any disease, when it's not put in check, inaendanga ikiongeza,
ina progress.
Inaendanga ikiprogress.
Hebu tuongelee addiction ya watu wazima. And nitakupatia scenario hapa. Nataka tuongelee this addiction ya watu ambao wanaitwa people in corporate. Every Friday, this man is rushing, or this woman is rushing, not to go home, but to go to a joint. Na kwa hii joint, si ati wanaenda kuongelea biashara. They're going to have an easy time. You know what I'm talking about?
To unwind.
To unwind. Na hii unwinding, ameshindwa kudetach. Because the feeling that comes with that unwinding is so addictive. So huyu dem, ama huyu baba ya mtu, ama husband ya mtu, atatoka hapo kesho saa 2 asubuhi. It's affecting the finances, it affects the marriage, you know, it's affecting the relationships, It's affecting vitu mob.
What about the decisions you'll make from the time you take the first drink
Yes.
to 8 in the morning?
Ni addiction ama we are too uptight?
The thing is, I'll give you 4 questions that you can ask yourself or that the viewer can ask themselves. And these questions normally haziendangi mbali to the truth. Number 1, have you tried to control or stop na ukashindwa? Whether unafanyanga kila Friday, have you said, hii Friday siendi, and then ukajipata?
Maybe yes. I can answer for them. Maybe yes. Yeah.
That is the first question. When those patterns are mentioned, do you feel like you get irritated or angry? Unaona hiyo story kimenshoniwa pale. What emotions are evoked in you? That is the second question.
Una defend. It's just Friday. Ni mara moja kwa wiki.
So ukisikia ni kama hiyo kitu inakuchoma choma.
Okay.
After indulging or after doing that, do you often find yourself feeling guilty? Or kujirudia, I wish I didn't do that. You question some of the things you did. That is the third one. And do you feel, the last question is, do you feel like that has to happen for something else to happen? For example, do you feel like ukirudi job Monday na ukuenda party Friday, like you
fear of missing out? You missed something?
You've missed something or something didn't happen or... So those are the 4 questions you ask yourself. And these 4 questions, we say, ukipata mbili hivi, maybe ya tatu, the answer is yes or maybe, then you need to check yourself. And it's not the drinking. Remember I said, the drinking and the uses of substances is not about the drink. It's about what it is trying to cover. What is this? Iko kwa life yako, unatry kupotelelea. You see, we miss conversation ya drugs na addiction, where we concentrate on the drug and the addiction. Ni rahisi kudefend. Unaona? Ni rahisi, kama hadi wa leo, mi ukunywa coffee maybe sana. Na mimi ukikuja nitakwambia, sometimes it helps me kumaliza kazi. Unaona? So it's not about that. Niulize, basi kwa nini umalizi kazi mapema? You get? So it's not about this. It's about what is happening in your life that you are escaping using that.
We, off the camera, tulikuwa na conversations and with one of your colleagues, one of your friends, and she mentioned kwamba siku hizi mpaka jaba inalisiwa na cocaine, hard drugs.
Not just hard drugs, but also some of the medication you find in our chemists. When we are treating people with the mental disorders, depression, or even addiction itself, there is this medication that is used. And that medication is usually psychoactive. Psychoactive it is to mean it may change the way you think, the way you behave, or the way you feel. So either ni hard drugs, kama cocaine. These days, the drug called fentanyl has infiltrated the market.
Wacha tusitaje brands,
it's not a brand.
It's not a brand?
It's not a brand.
It's just a drug?
It's a drug called fentanyl. It's an opioid. It's a drug like heroin. But heroin is more expensive. So fentanyl is like a substitute for heroin, but it's very cheap. So you find that if you get your hands on that and you're able to spray a very small amount into the drug you're selling, like marijuana or miraa, it makes it more potent.
Potent, yeah.
So when the end goal of a drug user is to feel nice. So me as the seller, my end goal is to make you feel nice. So if I find a cheap way to make you feel nice, so that you
come back tomorrow,
I'll do that. It's business.
So kama hiyo ina target nani? Who is the target market? Because you said it's cheaper than the heroin.
Now, most of these drugs, they target 2 people. The very vulnerable people. It's our young people and the middle class people. Because our middle class, hawa unasema wa Friday, hao ndio wanahitaji hiyo unwinding. So kuna ile siku, hii pombe yako haitafanya kazi. Nikuja nikuambia.
Si pombe.
So those 2, the middle class and the young. the young people. Hata ukiangalia clientele sana sana ni these people trying to make it, or the young people who are now maybe in high school or just in college. When you are out of college ni wenye maybe they are in their first job, they are due for their first promotion or or they are trying a business because they are highly stressed and vitu kama hizi. So the target population.
Is it 2 years ago? 2 years ago, images young people in central Kenya zilikuwa very rampant. Yani unaona tu wanaume wa umri wa makamo na wengine wachanga wameanguka kwa mitaro. Wamama kutoka Mlima Kenya, Mount Kenya wanaandamana. Wanasema actually don't even get pregnant anymore because these men are not even performing in bed. And that caused a national conversation in the country where, oh my goodness, this is now becoming a national disaster. And that is when our former deputy president then, Rigathi Gachagua, akaanzisha msako bazifungwe na wanyang'anywe leseni zao. So you, as an addiction counselor, I don't know what goes through your mind when you remember, and I'm very sure those things are still happening even today. What goes through your mind about such people?
Number one, I feel sad, and then I feel compassion. The sadness comes from, these are young people, these are age mates, these are people who are supposed to be, building lives, taking care of children, and that is not happening. Number two, I feel compassion because I know for most of these people, they just didn't decide to get there. And being caught in that web, sometimes ujuangi utajitoaje. But I like to tell these people, but pia kujitoa is in your hands too. So, and also I feel a cry now for the mothers and for our mothers because they become the most affected. Because, for example, my wife is looking up to me for protection and provision and conjugal rights. Like
it is true. Na wewe uko hapa hata ujiwezi.
Na wewe uko hapa hata ujiwezi.
Yeah.
And alcohol and drugs have a way of directing you to them. So they make you neglect what could be important to you. And then ukiangalia now the quality of the product that most of these people would be getting is also very low. Utapata drinks that are laced with chemicals, drinks that are not well manufactured. So it will also affect a lot of things healthily. So unapata the whole community suffers because of that. And you find that wacha tu hao wanalala kwa mtaro na wenye wanakosa kuamsha. Suicide rates pia zinaenda
very high.
Zinaenda juu. Because ujue huyu mtu akienda kukunywa ameenda kusolve shida iko ndani yake. Na inapata hiyo kitu haisolve hiyo shida. So anaendelea anakuwa sad zaidi. So anaona kama hii pombe inamsaidii na nyumbani ashaharibu. What is left for them?
Anajitoa uhai.
Yeah. So it's something that we may see it as a drinking problem. But you can see it's a drinking problem with so many roots around it. What do you think happens to the children of these people when they are neglected in that way, when their fathers are not present? These children get trauma. So these children, when they grow up in that environment, what will these children become? They'll also become the same alcoholics. Because that's what they know. This is how we deal with pain here. So it even becomes a generational problem.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like for example, in the deputy president's, the former deputy president's shoes, the only thing you can do is policy measures. Because that's the only thing he can do in his power. Then, mi usema hivi, we pali uko unafanya yako ile unaweza, because you can't do everything. Kama ni pastors and churches, they also have their role to play. Kama ni hospitals, Ministry of Health, pia iko na, unajua Ministry of Health haitaenda kufunga but wanaweza employ counselors, wanaweza leta these services closer to the people. Kama ni Ministry of Sports, it also has a service to a role to play. Wanaweza tengeneza alternative activities for these people. But when people are having these conversations, they narrow it down to only one thing that needs to be done. But it is very complex. And also sasa wewe mwenye uko hapo ndani, you have the biggest role to play. To kusema, I've had enough. Unajua saa zingine tuko kwa shida, until you've had enough, huwezi saidika hata unaona. So it's not just it's a huge problem.
As an expert, Jeff, ambaye anahusika moja kwa moja na watu ambao wanasumbuka na masuala ya substance addiction, are you able to give us statistics? Na tukizungumzia statistics, I'm talking about demographically, maybe narrowing down to us, pengine the age brackets ya watu ambao wanatumia substances sana, and maybe ni substances gani, and if you're able to give us the psychographics, zile za ni watu ambao wanafanya kazi za aina gani, their lifestyle, and even the gender, because nowadays tunaambiwa kwamba actually wanawake wanakunywa zaidi kuliko baba zao katika zile siku, and we are not just talking about alcohol here. Are you able to give us statistics?
I'm not able to give statistics per se, like exact statistics with the numbers that you could be 4%.
I'm at 20%.
I'm at 20%.
Yes.
But I can say right now, even the kind of treatment we are doing is shifting. A few years ago, you'd majorly find alcohol addiction from maybe guys who are 35 and above. You know, mtu amekunywa 15, 20 years. But now, with these designer drugs coming in, with the Gen Z now kuchukulia hii moto ya marijuana. Unaona?
Gen Z wanatumia marijuana sana.
And you know now marijuana, now with things like cat, mogoka, ina-induce kitu inaitwa psychosis. So for the younger people below 30, what we are getting mostly is dual diagnosis.
What is that?
Mtu akona addiction plus a mental illness yenye imeletwa na drug. Because ya kutumia hizi multiple drugs. For the older guys, when wako 40, 50, unapata mostly it is the alcohol addiction. Not to say that pia in those brackets pia hakuna wenye wako na hizi dual diagnosis. I'm just saying it's more prevalent now
among the younger generation.
The other thing, kitu kama hii shisha. Na hii shisha imejaribu kubaniwa. Unajua kwa nini nimecheka? Jo sasa unajua una ban kitu, when you ban it you make it profitable. Unajua because I was having a conversation with a colleague from Uganda. So na alikuwa ananiambia that for bars that would make maybe profit, yeah, in example, $1 bob the whole night on alcohol alone.
$1 bob per bottle.
Natumia example just to make it relatable. For shisha, for every profit of 1 shilling on alcohol, for shisha, with the same crowd, you make 7 shillings. 7 times more.
It's a big margin.
So kama una making a profit ya 10K on selling alcohol, if you have shisha
in the same premises, utakuwa na hiyo 10K na 70K ya shisha. So si unapata wataenda, ndio watabribe crowd, watabribe nini. Alafu sasa siku hizi, shisha traditionally ilikuwa ya kusmoke tobacco, flavored tobacco. But the same issue yenye unaona hapa ya kulesi vitu ndio ikuwa more potent is happening. Because you want these people to be more high.
To be more.
So sasa inawekwa nini? Because uko kwa ground.
Hata huwezi jua sasa. Sasa hizi unapata mtu amekuja, ameletwa na bibi yake ama na mzazi. Ambu afanyia yeye drug test. Now that person can swear, I only do shisha and alcohol. Unawekelea mtu drug test, zile vitu zinatoka positive hapo, hata unamwamini juu unajua haezi zipata.
Okay.
So it must be in the things that he was
consuming in shisha.
Ama unapata mtu anakwambia mimi uvuta tu bangi na pombe. Enyewe ukiangalia huyu mtu hata ile pesa upata, ama ukiangalia unajua. That's why niko job unajua mtu anadanganya man. Lakini ukiekelea test unapata some few other
traces of other substances.
Enyewe ukiangalia huyu mtu unaona yenyewe hakuna vile anaweza kuwa ana access hizi vitu. Unaona? So it is there. It is happening. And I don't know whether it's this government or the previous government. They had labeled addiction and mental health issues a pandemic or something of the sort. It is. Even if we bury our hairs in the sun. Yeah. It is.
It's a pandemic.
Inaendelea ikikuwa worse.
Na iko kwa both genders.
Both genders.
Because you know drug issue imekuwa ni issue wanaume.
Though mi usema mademu kwa na advantage, juu maternal instinct tusaidia sana. Kuna vile dem anaweza lewa mess but ikifika ile time maybe yake ya kusettle ama kupata ball, but they are the unlucky ones that you find what is she? So hata ukienda population ya rehab you find it is 7:1.
7 men against 1 woman. Okay. So wale watu wana struggle na substance abuse in our families, because I want us to be so relatable, Jeff, because tunaongea na watu ambao wako kwenye familia, tunaongea na baba ambaye ako na mtoto ambaye amemsumbua sana, sema oh my god, news ya shamba nipeleke rehab. Do you think huwa tuna handle hawa watu in the right manner? Because utapata kwamba kuna familia mtu anasema hata huyu kijana akitaka kwenda kufa akufe na huko, wacha kunywe mpaka akunywe moto, you know. Do you think we handle addiction family members the right way?
You see, when you mention family, you've added something into the conversation.
Yeah.
You've added love and connection. And when you have somebody struggling with addiction that you love and you have connection with, your mind just doesn't see the addiction. Your mind sees loss.
Yeah.
And we react not to the addiction, we react to the loss that we see.
Yeah.
And how we react is that naturally as human beings, when somebody we love we are losing, kitu unataka kuisave. So we get the urge to save the person. So we think of, okay, traditionally, kitu nimeona sana, unaitia mtu kwanza pasta kwanza.
Yeah. It's important.
Unaona, with the hope. Nakuja, maybe ana change siku moja mbili, unasikia? Fiti tena na relapse. Then ile hope ulikuwa nayo inavunjwa chini. Hiyo hope ikivunjwa, unabaki na nini? Unabaki na hasira na anxiety. Wakati ule mtu anafanya hizi vitu, also anxiety yako inaenda juu. But now your mind starts associating your anxiety and your anger and your negative emotions with the person. So you try harder. Now this time, unamuitia anti yake.
Kama anti yake wa Kisumu.
Ama unafikiria ama ni huyu mtu ana kazi, unamtafutia kazi, bado aje. Ama unafikiria ama ni bibi yake anamsumbua, unamtafutia bibi wengine. I've seen these things. Sawa? Okay? And then unakuja watch show ya Njogu, unapata Jeff pale, unasema
ama nipigie Jeff. Akuja ongea na kijana wangu.
Ongea na kijana wangu. Kijana nimesikia ni kama ana maneno mzuri.
Kwanza kuna experience.
Unajua mimi nitakuitisha pesa. Anasema kwanza hiyo pesa anaitisha, lazima ikue. So unapata hope. Unakuja mimi unanilipa nakuja. Kijana wako ana change 1 week ama 2 weeks ama anakosa kuchange. So ile hope inaenda ikididimia. But what is happening inside of you? You are developing resentment, you are developing anxiety, you are developing anger, but your mind is not allowing you to work on that with yourself. It is focusing on the other person. So family members begin neglecting themselves. Yes.
Okay.
Because now their energy and need is centered on
kwa huyu mtu sasa.
On the other person.
Yeah.
And majorly unapata sasa hata within the family kunakosa happiness, kunakosa nini, hata kukuwa na mtu mwingine amefanya maybe aka graduation, you just become happy that day for the photos, but all the other times if your daughter is getting married, mtafurahi hiyo siku ya harusi, then mnakumbuka kama unakeli you know that. So you find that because of the emotional component, there is no right or wrong way of dealing with an addict within the family. What I would say is wise is always begin with yourself, whether you are addicted or not. You see, address this hope that you're having, address this anger, and then ask yourself a simple question. What can I practically do to help this person?
Then what is that you can do? Ni nini hiyo mtu anaweza kufanya? Because I've seen families where unapata mzazi anasema kijana wangu maybe akona addiction kwa sababu ya the environment. Marafiki zake wako hapa kwa shopping center in the same village. So it's a case that I know. Unapata mzazi anauza shamba anasema I'll take my child to Qatar, to Dubai, Saudi Arabia. Huko hakuna pombe. My goodness, after 6 months, unapata kijana amedipotiwa. Anarudi, becomes even worse.
Yes.
So how do you explain that case?
It's very simple. And I'm sorry to say this, but addiction is a disease where nobody can heal the addict. It's beyond you. So all what you can do is get them help and get yourself help for what is going. Then you ingine unawachia Mungu. I know it's hard. I know these are your children. But unless that happens, mtakuwa mnashinda hii. Ujua saa zile now you are concentrating on this person. Huyu mtu haoni mapenzi. Yeye anaona wewe madhe ni nini unaingilia?
Unakelele sana madhe.
Life yangu. Yaani mimi unanitoa hapa unanipeleka Qatar. Sasa tutaonana na Wambo. Yaani wewe unaona unamsaidia. Yeah? Na atakubali maybe juu sometimes ana option. But the things inside them or the things that perpetuate addiction inside a person are beyond even a parent or anybody to heal that person. So if you are able, get them a good counselor. If you are able, get them treatment, knowing the practical nature of treatment and even counseling, that it is a journey. And then pia we mwenyewe usijineglect. It has to be a balance.
Talk to us, Jeff, about the power of an environment, because I understand there are those enabling environments for your addiction to grow and actually to morph into something maybe even worse. Unataka kuniambia kwamba nikikutoa hapa kama mtoto wangu ambaye unakuwa addict because of the environment, nikupeleke place nyingine hautabadilika?
It may or it may not. Kuna watu hadi wanapelekangwa crusade siku moja na wanaokoka na hiyo story inaishia hapo. But for others, hata umpeleke crusade 10 Aisha. Watu ni tofauti. There are those people, their success stories za Qatar na ziko. And that is why mzazi mmoja atasema Kimani alipelekwa Qatar akachinjwa, unapeleka?
My brother is called Kimani. Why did you keep that example?
Ilikuwa an intention hata simjui. But you see, people do that. What I'm trying to say is that this thing is very personal and it differs with individuals. You do what you practically can do, and whatever you do when it fails, usichukulie ni kama ni wewe umefail ama ni huyo mtu amefail. Ni vile tu hiyo kitu umefanya kijawaka. Otherwise, addiction is a disease that now makes the whole family very sick. Na hakunanga njia moja. And what works for one person, kama mimi nilienda rehab once and I never have relapsed on drugs. But I've also had my own journey. There is a person atahitaji 1, 2, 3, 4. Kuna mtu hata mimi wa kesi za Qatar nazijua. Kuna mtu anaenda Qatar na baada ya time anarudi anakuambia yenyewe nimeona hata pombe ilikuwa ya ufala. Kuna mtu ataenda huko then ako like siwezi kaa hivi. So watu ni tofauti. That's why I say there is no right or wrong way. Is you do what you practically can do, and then you take care of yourself, and then you wait that new of waiting. We often say the serenity prayer. And these days I'm liking it a lot. That there are things you can change and there are things you cannot. The serenity prayer goes, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So all cases ziko tofauti. So if it's your son, identify, what can I do? Then you do that. Then what you can't do, you teach yourself with time. You also need that healing. What I'm trying to say, everybody needs that kind of healing from the addiction, whether you're the active user or you're the family member of that person.
What about ile kujichukia na ile low self-esteem ambayo hutokana na watu kuwa na addiction and people don't talk about it enough. And when I talk about people don't talk about it enough, sana sana wanaume hawazungumzi the self-hate, the low self-esteem and the bruising of the ego that comes with that.
With that. And it's mostly from the losses that happen during
the addiction
phase, because that's where people lose money, people lose job, people lose wives, people lose erections.
It's true. Not elections.
Erections. So people don't talk about these things enough. What I'd like to say is that is one of the underlying issues, and that is one of the things that people try to run away from because you can't face yourself, you can't sit with yourself. So in recovery, I try to teach people that building your self-esteem is like a project. It happened leo because we have talked about it today. It is the actions that you start taking today, pole pole, pole pole. With time, your mind will recognize those actions, and as you continually work on changing your mindset and how you view yourself, that your mind will begin feeling good about yourself. It is a feeling that is built
over time.
And talking about it helps. Actually, that's one of my coping styles. Whenever I feel like I'm not good enough, like me after show, nikifeel nimeblanda, mi ndakuja nakwambia mi ni kama hapa nimechoma. Then ukiniambia hujachoma, ni mimi nichague whether nitakuamini ama nitabeba hiyo. So it's a series of actions.
Addiction inaua
sana.
It's sad.
Addiction inauanga in these ways. Number one, withdrawal. There are drugs, even alcohol. Mtu akikosa pombe ama enough, the system shuts and they die. Number two, intoxication. What you call overdose. Overdose happens because your mind is looking for more drug to achieve the same feeling. It's a phenomenon we call tolerance. So your tolerance, you find that you need more. So there are drugs that your mind is telling you take more to feel better, but that more becomes poison and you die. The third way addiction kills is if you have underlying depression and you take drugs and you feel good, but because of this tolerance, the drugs stop working. So the depression gets worse. So if you had suicidal thoughts, they become amplified and that happens. The fourth way that addiction will kill you is through addiction-related diseases like liver cirrhosis, lung cancer, liver cancer, and all those types of cancer. The fifth way addiction will kill you is doing dangerous stuff while intoxicated. Driving. All of those things. Driving,
even swimming. People have died in the pools.
Or saa zingine unapata msee ameenda kutafuta madre place dangerous. Unapata msee amestabiwa ama vitu kama hizo. But even before addiction kills you physically, inakuanga ishakuwa ndani.
Uko ndani. Kuna watu wenye Jeff wanajitoa wao wenyewe out of addiction. Haongei na mtu, hajaenda counseling, hajaenda rehab. But unapata tu, my goodness, I no longer drink, I'm no longer addicted. Ni yeye mwenyewe. What kind of a person is that?
It's the power of the mind, and we all have that. ni kama vile we can all run but not all of us can be Kipchoge. It is the same phenomena. So our minds all can do it, but other people, other people's minds have the ability to do that more than others. Even when you come counseling to me hakuna kitu nitakupatia. Mi kazi yangu itakuwa kuchannel your mind to that. And even in counseling you find kuna mtu anahitaji 4 sessions, mwingine 10, mwingine 20. And the same thing.
Maybe the same issue.
The same issue. But our capacities are different because it is the mind that gets sick. Now the answers of the mind are found in the mind. And the mind is very powerful. So some people are able to find that faster and easily than others.
So in a nutshell, tukimalizia Jeff, if I was your, what do you call it? Let me say
client.
If I was your client today and I came to your office with an addiction issue, how do you start your sessions? And let me give you a scenario. You're having a man who is very closed up. I'm giving you the example of a man because we know men don't open up easily. So how do you start the session until you work with this person mpaka unaona recovery yake?
The first thing I'll try to do is connect with you as a human being. Because when you come to me, I don't see your problems. I don't see those things. Me, I see. Umesema kwa mwanaume tutakuita aje?
Niite Steve. Steve is a good Steve. Si Steve. Niite Brayo.
It's funny, nimetoka kumwona best yangu anaitwa Brayo.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I'll want to know Brian. I'll want to connect with Brian, the person, first.
How do you connect with the person?
By being Jeff.
Okay.
By being human. By creating that human connection that I want to know you. I want to know what you're all about beyond this addiction. What's your life like? What are your dreams? What do you like? You know? And within those things, tutakosa kitu moja ambayo tutaconnect nayo. Then after that, maybe nitataka kujua motivation yako ya kuchange. Maybe ni watu wenye mko nao wanaona shida, wewe huoni shida. And then now from there I may do an assessment. Now I'll do an assessment to kujua whether ni wewe unaona ama ni watu wanaona, what's the severity and what are the underlying issues. I'll want to know if whether ni wewe unaona ama ni watu wanaona, what could be pushing this, and we'll try to understand it together. It's not like that nakuja na kitabu nakwambia wewe Brayo wewe ni kale kadem kalikuacha. You know, we'll be trying to do it together.
Yes,
what could be pushing this? Then once we have the underlying issues, we'll have a plan. Now I'll come in as a professional and for these underlying issues, these are the things we can do to help you with these underlying issues. And of course, now vitu kama relapse prevention, then skills, then vitu kama hizo. So we are able to walk that journey. Client-centered approach. It's not about me. It's not even about the addiction or what people are saying. It's about you, the person.
So Jeff, so in a nutshell, for somebody to recover, do you highly recommend counseling, rehab, family support, or it's more of a holistic approach?
It's a holistic support approach. What I highly recommend is professional assessment at the beginning. Before you take these steps, get a professional come in, credible one like me, to do an assessment.
Somebody has to be a professional. You cannot just talk to anybody.
To do an assessment before you rush to solve. First, try and understand what is happening. What is severity? Juu wase wengi urush to rehab. Na maybe mtu afai rehab. Mtu alikuwa anahitaji. Wase wengi urush kufungulia watu majob. Na maybe mtu shida yake si kazi, shida yake iko huko ndani. So assessment, and also even after assessment we find the holistic approaches. They work best. Na pia to my fellow professionals, tusikuwe very uptight. We are dealing with people. Unajua saa zingine unataka kutransfer ile kitu tulifunzwa na lecturer tu hapa, then unapata kidogo
hazingiani.
Anakuletea
theory.
Una deal na mtu, the person. The person. You know? So that na pia kuwa open minded na ku approach, like I like to say, just like any disease. Unaweza kunywa dawa recovery kakae, unaweza kunywa dawa upone hiyo siku. You know, watu wakuwe open minded. Sometimes unapatanga hata recovery yenyewe ina happen in phases, small improvements. Unapata mtu maybe bado anakunywa, but sasa ameanza kwenda kazi, ameanza kujua kucommunicate, maybe ameanza kuoga. That is a step. Maybe next time itakuwa something else, and then unapata along the way. But sasa tunatakanga tu umeniletea client, mimi nikurudishia angel. Anyway,
it's a process.
It's a process.
Takes time. All right. So umesema people have to go to professional people like you. So like wewe unapatikana wapi? How do we find you if we need to look for you?
Yeah, I like that.
Na mbona umesmile?
Si nimesikia fiti. Nikijua mnaweza nipata.
Yeah, we need to know where to find you.
So I have my office in Ruiru and a center in Kenyatta Road.
Okay.
So the office is kukuja tunaongea hivi. The center ni ukikuja hapo unapewa masiku zako kadhaa za recovery. Hivyo. Okay. So can somebody call you? Do you mind maybe sharing your numbers? Somebody might my number. 0702 492050.
0702 492050. Sawa.
So umekram namba yangu bila kutaka.
Itabidi. And by the way, na feel kwamba kuna vitu ambavyo hatujagusia mtazamaji wa Anjogu TV, na kile tutafanya Jeff, maybe kama wako na maswali, we can take the questions. Either we can do a TikTok live where myself and you, we can go live either on TikTok, ama IG, or maybe even on Facebook, so that we get to answer maswali ya watu directly. Unajua sasa we cannot explain everything kwa program ya maybe 1 hour ama 40 minutes. So we're going to give you a date. Look at the poster very well. We're going to give you a very good date and the good timings. You join myself and Jeff live on TikTok. We get to answer your questions on substance use and addiction. So always a pleasure having you, Jeff. Thank you so much for creating time. Tapatana mbele sindio? So subscribe Anjogu TV and it's going to be awesome.
Thank you.
Bye. Take care.